The first question I have, we'll start with Mr. Cancino. I want to be very clear about what you're suing for, because I don't understand what the delay had to do with your actual damages.
It caused the financial...
And you understand, I'm asking questions
to
clear my head of certain issues.
It caused a lot of confusion. We didn't know how to proceed because she wasn't returning our phone calls.
Well,
it didn't cost us any money as far as
how would you have proceeded differently?
It would have been faster.
What would have been faster?
Who was going?
The mold restoration, whatever, had to take place.
Well, we would have found out the... Actually, I'm not suing for so much for the damages of the repairs, although I think
well, I don't see how
the delay caused the confusion. We had a lot of balls in the air. We didn't know what to do.
What are you suing for? Is the question?
No, I'm actually the $500 is
that you had to reimburse
all
your
the
tenants.
Delays caused by
but I don't understand. I don't understand how the delays caused that damage.
Well, I can tell you this: if Ms. Gorin had responded to some of the calls and emails, we might have suspected it was coming from this, but she never did. And we never had the plumber.
You're putting a lot of responsibility on a person who doesn't have insurance, who didn't feel responsible, and you said that she's got to answer all of your questions.
Well, look,
all right, we'll open it up for a discussion at this point.
No, but I think Judge Corriero's point is if she had just written back to you the first day and said, buzz off, not my fault, how would you be in any different a position today?
I might have taken action more quickly.
What kind of action?
Legal action.
Legal action. Okay, but that didn't change the amount of your damages.
No.
I think that's what Judge Corriero was...
And as far as this phantom toilet on the 3rd floor, no one ever mentioned anything about that.
Right, so who did the assessment that determined it was her toilet?
The plumber.
Do you have any evidence of that?
I called him and I asked him to give me a letter, and he said he would, and he never did.
Did your toilet overflow while you were at work?
Yes.
How long had you been away?
8 hours.
Okay. So when you left work and went home, did you call anybody?
They had a plumber waiting.
Okay.
They had the plumber waiting.
And after you said he declogged your toilet, did you have any other issues with your toilet?
No.
How is it that your upstairs neighbor are the problem when your toilet stopped overflowing?
Because if it had sat there clogged, it wouldn't have overflowed. Because I would have...
Why was it clogged? You caused the clog.
Right.
Why are you not the problem?
You're saying they're the problem because they flushed their toilets.
Right.
You're saying that every time they flushed, your toilet overflowed. That means there's a problem somewhere between their toilet and your toilet. The plumber comes, fixes your toilet, and now they flush without a problem. So why don't you think that it was your toilet that was the problem?
Yeah, but in a HOA situation, it's the connection of everything. Because if my toilet had been clogged and I never used it, then it would never have overflowed.
Okay.
All right, we're going to excuse the parties while we deliberate in this matter. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cancino, Ms. Gorin, we have reached a verdict and a dissent. Judge Corriero, Mr. Cancino, believes that you failed to meet your burden today, that you failed to prove that the defendant was responsible for any of the leaks. So everything else fails after that. Judge Juarez and I, however, believe that the defendant is responsible for at least one of those leaks, the west wall. The insurance company covered and gave you some checks, and because they did that, there was a deductible of $1,000, so you were out of pocket for that amount. We're inclined to give you that. We're also going to give you half of the mold remediation costs that were not covered by your insurance company. And because, again, we believe that the defendant was responsible for one of the leaks, we're going to split that in half. And that was a total of $3,950. In half, that would be $1,975 plus the $1,000 deductible that you had to pay, comes out to $2,975. So the verdict today is in favor of you, Mr. Cancino, for $2,975.